Osteomyelitis. Osteo means bone, myelitis means bone marrow, and itis means inflammation. So the inflammation of bone and bone marrow is known as osteomyelitis. Osteomyelitis, they may be the etiology of the osteomyelitis. It can be fungi, viruses, parasites, or bacteria. Most common etiology is bacteria. The osteomyelitis caused by the bacteria is known as pyogenic osteomyelitis. Etiopathogenesis of the pyogenic osteomyelitis is very important. The pathogenesis of the pyogenic osteomyelitis is they can reach up to the bone, or the organism may reach to the bone by directly hematogenous spread, that is from through the blood, or extension from the contiguous site. Example, skin infection may reach up to the blood and then reach into the bone, or directly implanted into the bone through the open fracture. Example, the hematogenous spread is most common in the infant because the infection remains in the blood in the children for a longer period of time. And that is, but this organism reach to the blood through the minor skin infection or through the vigorous chewing of the hard foods by the teeth, and there is an injury in which there is an infection, it reaches to the blood, and in the adult it reaches through the open fracture. So the main pathogenesis of the infection in the children or the infant are through the blood, and whereas in the adult are through the open fracture. The organism responsible for them are E. coli, Haemophilus influenza. Here, the most commonest site for the infection of the bone is mostly metaphysis because mostly metaphysis in the neonate. The growth plate are not much formed. There is an penetrating type of the blood vessels in the growth plate, because of which it reaches the epiphysis, but in the adult there is an epiphyseal closure, because of which infection remains inside the bone marrow. We can see it in the image. In the first picture, there is an penetrating type of the blood vessels through the growth plate in the infant, whereas in the adult they are closer. In the adult they may mostly spread through medullary region, that is osteomyelitis, inflammation of the bone and bone marrow. Now the morphological features of the osteomyelitis. In the osteomyelitis, depending on under the duration of the osteomyelitis, it can be either acute, subacute, or the chronic type of the osteomyelitis, but the changes in them are generally there is an initially pus formation, then there is an necrosis, and then later there is an healing by the fibrosis, and bone repair occurs. The sequence of the pathological changes can be remembered through first we will look through the images, and initially there is the sequence of the pathological changes are initially there is an pus formation in the metaphysis. Initially there is an pus formation inside the metaphysis, that is microabscesses formation. There is an microabscesses formation here, then these abscesses become enlarges in size, and later there is it may affect the oven bone. When the pus increases in the amount, then it may reach up to the periosteal region, it may reach up to the periosteum and leading to the periosteal elevation. There is an periosteum subperiosteal region, it may leading to the periosteal elevation in it. There is an dead or the necrosed necrosed bone which is known as sequestrum. There is a dead or the necrosed bone known as sequestrum. This is known as dead bone, and the pus extended and may reach beyond the out reaches through the skin out of it, known as draining sinuses, also known as cloaca. and later as there is a necrosis of the bone here, it may later leads to the formation of new bone formation here, known as involucrum. Involution of the new bone is known as involucrum. It can be remembered through MP SADS big. All the all the pathogenesis of the osteomyelitis can be remembered through MP SADS big. MP generally refers to the metaphyseal infection. There is an pus collection under the metaphysis, and then through the bone marrow, through this marrow, it goes to the Volkmann or the Haversian canals and reaches to the periosteum, called periostitis, leading to the subperiosteal abscess. There is an collection of the pus under the periosteum. Then it may later leads to the draining sinuses, that is, it comes out through the skin, known as draining sinuses. And then there is an dead or the necrotic bone known as sequestrum, and later there is an reactive new bone formation known as involucrum. The new bone that formed under the long duration, that is chronic duration, may leads to the sclerosing or the hardy type of the new bone, known as sclerotic osteomyelitis. And sometimes the abscesses are covered by the granulation tissue or the fibrous tissue known as Brodie's abscess. This can be remembered by MP SADS bag, that is metaphyseal pus collection. P stands for periostitis, S stands for the sequestrum, or subperiosteal abscesses, as a subperiosteal abscess. DS stands for draining sinuses, and DS stands for dead bone is known as sequestrum, DS. And B stands for Brodie's abscess, I stands for involucrum, that is involution or new bone, and G stands for garage osteomyelitis. In this way, this is an pathogenesis of the osteomyelitis, or the images of they can be, we can now again read it from it. There is an microabscess or the metaphyseal abscesses. Then these may reach to the subperiosteal region. Then this may reach to the subperiosteal region, leading to the subperiosteal abscess. Later there is an necrotic bone or the dead bone known as DS, that is dead bone is known as sequestrum, and involucrum is known as new bone formation. This is the pathogenesis of the hematogenous osteomyelitis.